everyone. Today we are going to do how to prepare a break-even chart. Along with that, we are also going to learn the benefits of break-even chart, limitations of break-even chart. As you already know before, break-even, when I talk about break-even, it is a point where you incur no profit, no loss. You do not incur any profit, you do not incur any loss. That means whatever is your fixed cost, you recover exactly the same amount. Your contribution is equal to your fixed cost in break-even point. But today we are going to do it with the help of a chart. How do you analyze the break-even chart, or how do you make a break-even chart? Let's do it properly. If this is my y-axis, this is my x-axis. Okay, this would represent the number of units and this could represent the cost and revenue. This is my fixed cost. Fixed cost is a cost that you have to incur irrespective of the number of units that you produce. And your total cost is always made up of total variable cost plus total fixed cost. Total fixed cost is something that you have to incur. Okay, and above this, whatever you're going to incur is the variable cost that you will incur. So above the fixed cost, whatever you are incurring is the variable cost that you are incurring. So your total fixed cost plus your variable cost is going to give you total cost. Revenue will always start with 0. If you sell 0 units, you're going to earn no revenue. So the revenue would go like this. If you increase the number of units, the revenue will also go on increasing. A point where your total cost is equal to your total revenue, your total cost is equal to your total revenue is a point where you make no profits and no loss, and this is called the break-even point. Anything that you sell below the break-even point, anything that you sell below the break-even point would give you loss. Anything that you sell above the break-even point would give you profit. So this is a small description of the break-even chart. We will do it a little bit more in detail. But before that, let us look at the limitations of the break-even chart. When I prepare a break-even chart, I make an assumption that all the data that I have, data about variable cost, fixed cost, they behave similarly. Second assumption that I make, that fixed cost remains fixed regardless of any circumstances, means under no circumstances my fixed cost could increase. These are the assumptions that I make, and this becomes the limitations of break-even chart. Because only if you follow this, your break-even chart would be perfect. Otherwise, your break-even chart is not perfect. So these are the limitations of your break-even chart. Third limitation of your break-even chart is that it assumes that the selling price is going to remain constant in all circumstances, which is not possible. Sometimes you may receive a special order and the selling price can change. So it is not possible to have a constant selling price all the time. Fourth assumption, your break-even chart assumes that the only factor that could affect your costs and the revenue and the sales revenue is the number of units that you produce and sell. However, this is not true. Your cost and revenue can be affected by your increase in output. If you increase the output, the cost may come down. If you increase the output, the sales revenue will increase. Okay, so cost and revenue can be affected by many other factors like increase in output, changes in economic climate. Sometimes when the climates are not favorable, the cost of raw materials may increase. Changes in the technology may reduce the cost or increase the cost. So cost and revenue can be affected due to many factors other than the sales volume. But break-even chart assumes that the cost and revenue figures will get affected only and only because of sales revenue. Minimum 4 points you need to know, and you should be able to write it. Limitations of your break-even chart. There are still more limitations of the break-even chart. Like, it assumes that the cost mix remains constant. Cost mix, that means the total variable cost plus total fixed cost remains constant. But business change their labor mix over a time. As the circumstance dictates, sometimes there are situations where you need to increase your labor force, or you need to ask your laborers to do overtime. Break-even chart avoids these circumstances. They also assume that all the goods that you produce is sold, and the chart is generally applied to one product. You can make break-even chart of only one product at a time. So these are the limitations. These are the limitations of your break-even chart. You need to memorize it, and over the time when you start solving your past paper questions, you will get a hold of it. Okay, let us see. Okay, cost volume profit analysis. How does it help us in decision making? What is gross profit volume? It is the contribution to sales ratio. Contribution to sales ratio is also called as the cost profit volume analysis. How does it help us in decision making? So they say that the CPV, cost profit volume analysis, it is a very useful tool for your short-term decision making. If you need to make decisions in the short term, you can use the contribution to sales ratio or the CPV analysis. What does the cost profit volume analysis tells you? It examines the relationship between the sales volume, the sales revenue, cost, and profit. It gives you the relationship between the volume, revenue, cost, and profit. The contribution to sales ratio, the cost profit volume analysis also shows us how does the cost behave at different levels of output. It also provides us answers to questions on what is the likely income if you increase your sales or you decrease the sales, when a particular action is followed by the management. For example, the CP will tell us the effect on profit if more goods were sold at a reduced price. This is also the benefit of the cost profit volume analysis. Now let us take a small example. Okay, in this I'm going to teach you how to draw a break-even graph. They've given you the selling price. They've given you the cost per unit. You know that when we are doing the break-even chart, we are following the marginal costing statement. So we will do selling price minus variable cost will give you contribution minus the fixed cost will give you profit or loss. So this is the variable cost 3. And one more, we have variable sales overhead. This is the fixed cost. We have 2 fixed costs and we need to prepare a break-even graph for the table. We need to show the break-even point and we also need to show the margin of safety. Try to recall the formula for margin of safety. How safe are you? How safe are you means your actual sales minus break-even sales. Actual sales in units minus the break-even sales in units. This will give you how much safe are you or how many extra units you are selling over and above the break-even point. So let's put this in a marginal costing statement. And the following information is given for production of 1 lakh tables. So everything, if you multiply by 1 lakh, you will get the total. Okay. So just remember this. 25 is the selling price. I'm just writing it for reference. Variable cost is 4, 7 for wages, 3 for manufacturing, and 1 for sales overhead. And the fixed cost would be 4 for manufacturing and 2 for sales. Before I prepare the break-even chart, I need to put it in the marginal costing statement. So I am going to prepare a marginal costing statement. I will make a per unit and I will multiply it with the number of tables that I am producing. So we always start with the selling price. Our selling price is 25. If you multiply 25 with the number of tables, what you're going to get is 25 lakh. So the selling price is done. Okay. Now we will take the variable cost. We have four variable costs as you see. So we will subtract the variable cost. We have variable cost of wood, which was 4, variable cost of wages, which was 7, variable cost of manufacturing overheads, which was 3, and sales overhead, which was 1. Okay, the total variable cost comes up to, you add all the 4 figures, the total variable cost comes up to 15. Very well. 15, the total variable cost, if you multiply with the total number of units, which is 1 lakh, 15, your total variable cost, if you multiply with the total number of units 1 lakh, you're going to get your total variable cost is 15 lakhs. Now you know that the selling price minus the variable cost is going to give you contribution, and your contribution per unit is 10. What will be your total contribution? You can do it 2 ways. 10 into 1 lakh or 25 lakh minus 15 lakh. Your total contribution is 10 lakh. From this, you're going to subtract your fixed cost. You have 2 fixed costs. One is the manufacturing overheads, other is the sales overhead. Your total fixed cost is coming up to 6. 10 minus 6 will give you 4, and this 6 into 1 lakh, 6 lakhs. Now remember one thing very clearly. We normally do not take fixed cost per unit into consideration because the fixed cost is incurred assuming a certain level of activity. Fixed cost is incurred assuming a certain level of activity, and that certain level of activity was pre-decided. This is just shown for calculation purpose. So even if you reduce the number of units or increase the number of units, you will not take 6 into the reduced or increased number of units. You will directly take 6 lakhs as the fixed cost, giving you a profit of $4 per unit, and the profit is 4 lakh. Okay. The profit is how much? 4 lakhs. Now, once you got a profit of 4 lakh, I will find the break-even point in units. What is the break-even point in units? It is fixed cost upon contribution per unit. What is my fixed cost? My fixed cost is 6 lakhs. What is my contribution per unit? Contribution per unit is 10, leaving me with break-even point in units as 60,000. What is my break-even point? Revenue. If I want to calculate break-even point in revenue, I will say fixed cost upon contribution to sales ratio. What is contribution to sales ratio? What is my contribution? 10. I can take the selling price as 25. 10 upon 25 into 100. Contribution to sales ratio 10 divided by 25 into 100. My contribution to sales ratio is 40%. So break-even point in revenue, fixed cost, always the total. 6 lakh upon contribution to sales ratio 40%. So 6 lakhs divided by 40% is giving me break-even point revenue as $15 lakh. Now I have the break-even point in units. I have the break-even point in revenue. I want to express this in the form of a chart, a bar graph, break-even point graph. Remember, you should always give the graph a proper heading. You're preparing a break-even point graph. X-axis would represent your sales and output. Y-axis would represent your cost and revenue. But you now only have break-even point revenue. You have 15 lakh revenue at 60,000 units. Okay. 60,000 units when you sell, your revenue is 15 lakh. Your revenue is 15 lakh. And the 15 lakh is not going to give you any profit or loss. Let's check. Selling price minus variable cost will give me contribution minus fixed cost will give me profit, and at the break-even point I have no profit, no loss. Selling price 25, 15, 10, fixed cost will take total. No profit, no loss, you should have 0, and your break-even point in units is 60,000 units. Multiply everything by 60,000 units. Your selling price is 15 lakh. 60,000 units into 25. Your variable cost is 9 lakh. 60,000 units into $15. Contribution you can minus or multiply. It is 6 lakhs. You will see very clearly that the contribution is equal to fixed cost, leaving you with 0 profit, 0 loss. But now you have to express it in a break-even chart. And you also have to give a chart for margin of safety. I have only figures of 60,000 units and I have only figure of 1 lakh units. That means if my units are 60,000, my selling price or sales revenue would be 15 lakh. If my unit is 1 lakh, my sales revenue is 25 lakhs. Let's find figures at some different level of activity. Okay, and we would also find a variable cost and fixed cost at different levels of activity. Variable cost and fixed cost. Fixed cost at all level of activity would remain the same. Variable cost at 60,000 units is 9 lakh. Variable cost at 1 lakh units is how much? 15 lakhs. Total cost would be the total of all this. Let's find the total cost. 9 lakh plus 6 lakh, 15 lakh. 15 lakh plus 6 lakh, 21 lakh. We can find at 10,000 units also. We can find at 10,000 units also. So it becomes very easy for us to calculate. 10,000 units, selling price is 25. So 25 and 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it becomes 25 lakhs sales revenue. Oh, how? 10,000 units into 25. So it becomes 25,000, the sales revenue. Variable cost per unit would be 15. So it will become 15,000 variable costs. Sorry, 1,50,000. This will become 2,50,000. My fixed cost will be 6 lakhs. And my total cost would be how much? 1,50,000 plus 6 lakhs, 7,50,000. Now, keeping these figures in mind, we will try and plot. We will try and plot our break-even chart. Remember, you should always give the proper heading. You will always give a proper heading. Okay. This is sales revenue. This is variable cost. This is fixed cost. And this is the total cost. Always give your break-even chart a proper heading. Okay, so break-even graph for tables. Okay, just give me, try and plot it. Let's plot this properly. Your x-axis would represent always your output and the y-axis would represent the cost and revenue. We've broken the output. So we've taken the output. We will take the output at 60,000 units. We'll take the output at 10,000 units. And we'll take the output at 1 lakh. Under any cases, the fixed cost would remain 6 lakhs. So we will plot the fixed cost first over here. The fixed cost would remain 6 lakhs. So this is my fixed cost. So whether I am producing 10,000 units, my fixed cost would remain 6 lakhs. If I'm producing 25,000 units, 6 lakhs. If I'm producing 60,000 units, it will remain 6 lakhs. If I'm producing 75,000 units, it will remain 6 lakhs. If I'm producing 1 lakh units, the fixed cost will still remain 6 lakhs. How about variable cost? Variable cost will increase. If I'm producing 0 units, my variable cost will remain 0. If I'm producing 10,000 units, my variable cost will be 1,50,000, which would be somewhere over here. If I'm producing 60,000 units, my variable cost is 9 lakh. So if I'm producing 60,000 units, my variable cost is 9 lakh. So somewhere below 10 lakh would be my variable cost. Somewhere below 10 lakh would be my variable cost at 60,000 units. So my variable cost at 60,000 units. Here I would say somewhere. This is an estimation. Remember, you need to take proper estimations. So at 60,000 units, my variable cost is how much? My variable cost is 9 lakhs. If I produce 0 units, variable cost is 0. If I produce 10,000 units, variable cost is somewhere 1,50,000. If I produce 60,000 units, variable cost is 9 lakh. If I'm producing 1 lakh units, variable cost is 15 lakhs. So if I'm producing 1 lakh units, my variable cost is 15 lakhs. Now I plot the graph of the variable cost. So the variable cost will increase as the number of units increase. Let's start with the fixed cost. Let's start with the fixed cost. Fixed cost plotting is done. Variable cost plotting is done. Now we'll take total cost. If I produce 10,000 units, now I will erase this so that it becomes a little easier for us. Total cost. If I produce 10,000 units, my total cost is 7,50,000. If I'm producing 0 units, my total cost will start from here. Okay, it will start from the fixed cost, that is 6 lakhs. So if I'm producing 10,000 units, my total cost is 7,50,000. If I'm producing 10,000 units, my total cost would be over here. Somewhere 7,50,000 or somewhere below the 9 lakh. Below 9 lakhs, I'm putting it over here. If I am producing 60,000 units, my total cost is 15 lakhs. If I'm producing 60,000 units, my total cost is how much? 15 lakhs. Okay. Now, if I produce 1 lakh units, my total cost is 21 lakh. Just look properly. It should be a bit proper. So 21 lakh. If I'm producing how many units? 1 lakh units. That means the total cost always starts with fixed cost. And this is the line of my total cost. The total cost will run parallel. Will run parallel to the fixed costs. So this is the line of my total cost. The total cost will run parallel to the total variable cost. Okay, total cost will run parallel to the total variable cost. I will reduce this a little. So that means fixed cost is the amount that has to be incurred. This will be the difference. This is the variable cost that you are incurring extra over and above the fixed cost as you're increasing the production of units. Now I will plot the total revenue. Now we'll plot the total revenue. Okay, total revenue. When I'm producing 10,000 units, my total revenue is 2,50,000. This is 5 lakh. Total revenue is 2,50,000, little below. If I produce 0 units, my total revenue would be 0. If I produce 60,000 units, my total revenue is 15 lakh. If I'm producing 60,000 units, my total revenue is 15 lakhs. If I am producing 1 lakh units, my total revenue is 25 lakhs. Now I will make the line of my total revenue. This is the line of my total revenue. This is the line of my total revenue. This is the line of my total cost. This is the red one is the total variable cost. And that was the fixed cost. Okay. So now what is break-even point? Break-even point is a point where my total revenue is equal to the total cost. So if you see properly, the total revenue is equal to total cost at exactly 60,000 units. This is how I plot my break-even point. This is the break-even point where my total revenue is equal to the total cost. Anything below the break-even point, anything below the break-even point, this part will give me loss. Anything below the break-even part, this part will give me loss. Anything above the break-even point is going to give me profit. That means I sell anything over and above the break-even point units, I am going to make profit. If I sell less than the break-even point units, I am going to make losses. Okay? And how much safe are you? Your actual sales in this example was 1 lakh. So this is your margin of safety. How much safe are you? Margin of safety. This is your margin of safety. You are selling 1 lakh. This is your 60,000 units. So the difference between these two, that is 40,000 units, is your margin of safety. This is your exact break-even point chart or the graph of the break-even point, wherein you see the fixed cost, you see your variable costs, it starts from zero. Your total cost always starts from the fixed cost, and revenue will start from zero. Okay, a point where your total revenue is equal to your total cost. Your total revenue is equal to your total cost is called the break-even point. Anything which is below the break-even point, which lines you will take? You will take the lines of your total cost, which is green, and total revenue, which is pink. Anything below the break-even point will give you loss. Anything above the break-even point will give you profit. Anything extra that you sell over and above the break-even point, that is you're selling 1 lakh units, is your margin of safety. Now we will do our next sum, which is paper 23, May-June 2020 paper, wherein it has certain questions which is asked from the concept of break-even analysis. 9706, May-June summer 20 paper 23. Y Limited is a large manufacturing company with factories at several locations. The company uses a marginal costing system. State 3 benefits of using a break-even analysis. What could be the benefits of using a break-even analysis? Think. Break-even analysis tells us the point at which you make a profit or loss. So the first benefit is it identifies the point at which product will make profit. It also helps to identify how much safe you are. It helps to identify the margin of safety. It provides information which is straightforward and easy to understand. It provides information in a manner which is straightforward and easy to understand. You need 3 points. We've given 3 points. Let's move ahead. At one factory, a single product is manufactured which sells for 75 per unit. So selling price is 75. The budgeted cost, direct material budgeted cost is 2 kgs at 12.5, that is 25. And direct labor budgeted cost is 3.5 hours per unit at the rate of $10 per labor hour, which is coming up to 35. That means they've given you the variable cost, direct material, direct labor, 30, 40, 50, 16. Selling price minus variable cost 16. It gives me contribution of 15. Now, whenever there is a sum of marginal costing, I always have a habit of writing in the marginal cost format. Fixed cost is budgeted to be 66,000 per month. Fixed cost is 66,000 per month. And it is possible to produce 7,500 units in the normal working conditions. Okay. Currently, 5,800 units are made and sold each month. Currently, 5,800 units are made and sold each month. They have asked us to calculate something. What have they asked us to calculate? They have asked us to calculate the break-even point in units. Now I very well know that the break-even point in units, what is the formula? It is fixed costs upon contribution per unit. What is the contribution per unit? I had already found out while reading the question. It was $15 per unit, and the fixed cost is 66,000. So 66,000 upon $15 per unit, it gives me how much? 4,400 units. Whenever you calculate the break-even point, always make sure whether you are doing it in units or revenue. Okay, so I have found out the break-even point in units. It is coming up to 4,400 units. Let's see what else they've asked us. They've asked us to calculate the break-even point in sales revenue. It is very easy since I already have the number of units. So if I want to find a break-even point in sales revenue or in dollars, it would be the break-even point in units multiplied by the selling price per unit. We already have the selling price 4,400 into selling price 75 per unit, which is giving me $3,30,000. Please note when they've asked you to calculate break-even point in sales revenue, you have the units, you have the selling price multiplied. If you don't have this available, I'm repeating, then you can find out the break-even point in sales revenue using the formula fixed cost, total fixed cost upon the contribution to sales ratio. Since it is only for 1 mark, I can do it this way. Okay. So the break-even point in sales revenue, we got it as break-even point in units upon into the selling price per unit. So I got the break-even point in sales revenue as $3,30,000. What else have they asked us to find out? Let's see. They have asked us to find the forecast profit per month based on 5,800 units. Okay, forecast profit per month based on 5,800 units. Very well, it is very easy to calculate. Selling price minus variable cost will give me contribution minus the fixed cost will give me the profit or loss. What is the selling price? Selling price is 75. What is the variable cost? 60. Contribution 50. What is the fixed cost? It is 66,000. Okay. You have 5,800 units. So multiply everything into 5,800. Your selling price, your sales would be 4,35,000. Your variable cost would be 3,48,000. Your contribution would be minus it, you will get 87,000. Fixed cost is 66,000. So what is your forecast profit? Your forecast profit is 21,000. It is 21,000. Okay, per unit. You can also say that you are selling 5,800 units. At 4,400 units, you make no profit, no loss. So the extra number of units that you are selling is 1,400 units. Every unit is giving you a contribution of $15 per unit. After selling 4,400 units, you recover all your fixed costs. So your forecast profit could also be 1,400 units into $15 per unit, which will give you $21,000. You can do it anyways. You can do it in this format ways, or you can do it like this. After break-even point, whatever you are going contribution that you are getting, it will contribute to profit. After break-even point sales, whatever contribution you are getting, will give you profit because you have already recovered your, because you have already recovered your fixed costs. Define margin of safety. What is margin of safety? They're asking you the definition of margin of safety. So it is the difference. What is margin of safety? It is the difference between two things: maximum possible production or sales, maximum possible production or sales, and break even point. Okay, so what is margin of safety? Difference between maximum possible production of sales in units and break even point sales in units. It is for 1 mark. This will give you 1 mark. Now you have additional information. The directors of Y Limited believe that they can increase the demand for their product. How can they increase the demand for their product? By making some changes to the design. If they make changes to the design, they will have $7 increase in the selling price, $10 increase in the direct material, no, 10% increase in the direct material, 20% increase per kg in the direct material costs, 10% increase in usage, 20% in the cost, and the demand would increase 40%. Overtime working is available if required, and the laborers will be paid 25% premium. You will also need an additional machinery at a cost of 24,000 extra fixed costs. Company's policy is to depreciate machinery over 5-year period. Prepare a marginal costing statement showing monthly profit based on these changes. What we will do is we will first take the original figures that we have. This was our selling price, direct material, direct labor, all the usage that we had. We will just bring it down over here. Okay, now let's see. We have to prepare a marginal costing statement. You know the marginal costing statement. It is prepared in a format 10 marks. Revenue or sales less variable costs will give me contribution. I have to prepare marginal cost statement. Variable cost is direct material and direct labor. Let's see. We forecast 40% increase in the demand. If it is forecasting 40% increase in the demand, the original was 5,800. 5,800 into 40%. So it is giving us 8,220 units. Original was 5,800 units. 40% increase of 5,800 units. It is giving me how much? 5,800 into 40%. It is giving me 2320. 5,800 units before plus 2320 units. It gives 8120 units. So we are going to do everything 8120 units. Everything is 8120 units. This will be per unit and this would be total. What do they think? They can increase the demand for their product by making some changes to the design. $7 increase in the selling price. What was the initial selling price? 75. What is the new selling price? 75 plus $7 increase. So the new selling price would be 82. Let's see the direct material cost. 10% increase in direct material usage. What was the previous usage? 2 kg. 10% of 2 kg, 2 into 10% is going to give 0.2. So your new usage would be 2 kg plus 0.2. Your new usage would be 2.2 kgs. And 20% increase per kg in the direct material cost. So the cost is 12.50. The cost would also increase by how much? 20%. 12.50 into 20%. 2.5 you will add up. So the total will be 12.50 plus 2.5. So it would be at $15 per kg. So your direct material cost would be 2.2 into $15 per kg. It is $33 per kg. Direct labor. Let's see what is given for direct labor. Selling price is done, material usage is done, and 20% increase per kg is done. Direct labor, 3.5 hours they are working at the rate of $10 per hour. Overtime working is available if required, and they will be paid 25% premium. Let's see how much they used to work initially. They used to work 3.5 hours to make 1 unit. So to make 5,800 units, how much did they work? To make 5,800 units, they worked 20,300 hours. Let's multiply 5,800 into 3.5. We are getting 20,800 hours. But they say in normal working condition, it was 7,500. So, normal working condition, it was 7,500. So, normally, if they work for 7,500 units, they will be paid 3.5, $10 per hour. So, 3.5 was required for 1 unit. So, for 7,500 units, it would be 7,500 into 3.5. It is 26,250 hours. Per unit is paid at the rate of 10 per hour. Per hour is paid at the rate of 10 per hour. So to produce 7,500 units, I was paying 2,62,500. This is my normal hours. So in the direct labor, normally if they were producing 7,500 units, every unit was taking 3.5 hours, and per hour I was paying $10. So I was paying them 262,500. Okay. Per unit, normally I was paying for every unit 3.5 hours. So 3.5 into 10. Per unit I was paying them 35. Per unit I was paying them 35. Now, if overtime is there, they will be paid 25% the premium. Now I'm going to produce 8120 units. Now I'm going to produce 8120 units. 7,500 is my normal units. 8120 minus 7,500, I'm going to produce 620 extra units. 620 extra units, okay, per unit is going to take 3.5 hours, but I'm going to pay them 25% premium. That means I'm going to pay them 10 plus I'm going to pay them 25% extra. So 25% of 10 is 2.5. So I'm going to pay them 12.5. So 620 units extra is going to be paid. Every unit is going to take 3.5 hours and it is going to be paid at the rate of 12.5. So per unit would be paid 3.5 into 12.5, 43.75 for 620 units. Okay. Let's see what is the total coming up to. The total is coming up to 27,000. Okay. 620 units into 3.5 hours into 12.50, 620 into 3.5 into 12.50. It is coming up to 27,125. So my direct labor I have already added. So just add both of these. 262,500. Okay. Plus 27, 1, 2. 262,500. 2,62,500 plus 27,125. It is giving me 2,89,625. It will not be wise to show direct labor in per unit because it is different per units. Okay, so I'm just showing the total over here. Now I will easily get my contribution. Less the fixed cost. Less the fixed cost. What is the fixed cost? The initial fixed cost was 66,000. So what is the initial fixed cost? 66,000 was the original one. What is the new fixed cost? They're buying in additional machinery for 24,000. But this machinery will work for 5 years. And I'm using it for this year and for this month because I'm going to prepare a monthly statement. So 66,000 so I'm going to use plus this machinery of 24,000 which will be used for 5 years. Okay. Whatever I will get, I will divide it by 12 because I'm preparing a monthly statement. So it will be 66,000 plus 24,000 divided by 5 is giving me 4,800. And this, if you divide by 12, you will get the monthly fixed cost. 4,800 divided by 12, you get a monthly fixed cost of 400. So 66,400 would be your fixed costs. This, if you subtract from contribution, you will get your profit or loss. Now just multiply your revenue with the new increased number of units that you expect and your direct material cost. 82 into 8120 is giving me 6,65,840. Direct material 33 into 8120 units is 2,67,916. Just subtract all of this from your revenue. From your revenue of 6,65,840, subtract the direct material cost, subtract the direct labor cost, you will get a contribution. How much contribution you are getting? You will get a contribution of 1,08,255. 1,08,255 minus your fixed cost of 66,400 is going to give you profit per month. This is very important. 41,855. And this gives me 10 marks. The marginal cost statement showing the profit for the month when there is a new demand of 8,120 units. Okay, just go through it, go through the information, pause for a while, look at the information, compare, and you will get it. Now let's look at the next part of the question. It is a continuation of the same year paper, 9706, May-June 20, paper 23. At a different factory, company is manufacturing two products. One is product A and one is product B. Monthly demand is 300, 200. Selling price is 20 and 25. Direct material cost is this, direct labor cost is this. Each product uses the same direct labor but requires different direct materials. Direct labor is paid at $12 per hour. Production manager is aware that only 285 hours of direct labor will be available. That means you have only less direct labors available in the month of August. What you have to prepare? You have to prepare optimum product plan. So whenever you have to prepare an optimum product plan, you will calculate contribution per direct labor hour. The product giving you highest contribution per direct labor hour will be ranked first. You can produce 300 units of product A. You can produce 200 units of product B. Let's see the labor hours that is required to produce product A. 300 units into 0.75, you need 225 hours. And if you're producing full capacity product B, 200 into 0.5, it is giving you 100 hours. So if you have to produce at full capacity, you need 325 hours. But you have only 285 hours. You need 325 hours, but you have only 285 hours. That means you have limited resources. And with these limited resources, you have to calculate the optimum product mix, optimum product plan. Which product to be rated higher in order to get the highest profit. In that case, you will calculate the contribution per the less resource that you have. Contribution per direct labor hour, which is the scarce resource that you have. So I have two products. I have product A and I have product B. Okay. To make product A, 1 unit of product A, direct labor hour per unit is 0.75 and the laborer is paid how much? Every hour the laborer works, he is going to be paid at $12 per hour. So to make 1 unit of product A, my laborer will be paid 0.75 into 12. He will be paid $9 per hour to make 1 unit. And to make 1 unit of product B, my laborer would be paid 0.5 into $12. That means my laborer would be paid $6 to make 1 product. Okay. Direct material per unit is 5 and 14. So what is my total variable cost? my total variable cost would be, or the total marginal cost would be 14 for product A and 20 for product B. What is my contribution for each product? Contribution per unit. Selling price minus variable cost. What is the selling price? Selling price is here 20 and here it is 25. So selling price minus variable cost. So this is giving me 20 minus 14. Contribution per unit is 6 per unit. And 25 minus 20, it is giving me 5 per unit. You have to calculate contribution per limited factor that you have. So now I will find out contribution per direct labor hour. What is the contribution per direct labor hour? Per unit, 6. Contribution upon labor hour will give me the contribution per direct labor hour. What is my contribution? 6 labor hour, 0.75. 6 divided by 0.75. Okay, 6 divided by 0.75 is going to give me the contribution per labor hour as 8. And contribution, what is the labor hour over here? It is 0.5. So contribution per labor hour 5 divided by 0.5, it is going to give me contribution per labor hour as 10. So what is the ranking? The first priority would be given to that product which gives me highest contribution per labor hour spent. Second priority here. So my optimum product plan would be, I will use, how many hours do I have? I have 285 hours. Okay, so my optimum product plan would be, priority 1 would be, I will produce product B. How many maximum units of product B I can make? 200 units of product B. 200 units of product B. Taking 100 hours. What is the number of labor hours that I have? 285. Okay, so labor hours that I have, 285 minus 100 hours of product B. Now I'm left with how many hours? I'm left with 185 hours balance. Priority 2. Product A. Now 1 unit of product A is going to take how many hours? 0.75 hours. So I have how many hours? 185 hours balance. How many units of product A can I produce? 185 divided by 0.75. So I can produce 246 units of product B. 246.66. So I will produce 246 units of product A. That will take 185 hours. This is my optimum product plan. You need to show this working for your optimum product plan as well. Optimum product plan. First, calculate the contribution per unit, contribution per direct labor hour, rank it. Then produce the maximum capacity of the rank 1 product, then the maximum capacity of the balance product. This is the optimum product plan. Okay, let's look at the next part. Okay, the next part is the marketing director does not think that the optimum product plan should be implemented. He does not think that this product plan should be implemented. Advise the directors whether or not the company should implement the optimum production plan. Justify your answer using both financial and non-financial factors. Now I have to advise them, the directors, whether they should implement the optimum product plan or no. See, if the company uses the optimum product plan, if the company uses the optimum product plan, it is going to make an extra contribution. It is going to make an extra contribution of how much? Let's see. Now, if you see clearly, product A has higher contribution per unit with $1. So the company says, don't make more of product B, make more of product A, because in the long run, it is going to give you benefit. However, if you use the optimum product plan with the limited number of factors, okay, every labor hour is going to give you more of $2 per profit. Now you need to put all of this. Optimum product plan gives preference to product B. The normal short-term decision making tells higher contribution means higher contribution towards the fixed cost. So in the long run, making more of product A would be beneficial. But in the short run, making more of product B is beneficial. You need to put all of these things. So you need to first give reasons for using optimum product plan. Reasons for using optimum product plan. What could be the reason for using the optimum product plan? This plan will ensure that company makes optimum profit. How many marks? 5 marks. That company makes optimum profit. Because product B has higher contribution. So this will give you 1 mark. Because product B has higher contribution per $2 of direct labor hours. 2 points, 2 marks, 2 points for agreeing. If you have any more reasons, you can give. Reasons for disagreeing. Company has a risk of losing customers of product A. Product A has higher contribution. Has higher contribution of $1 per product. In the long run, it will benefit more and help to recover more of fixed costs. Okay? 1, 2. One more point you can give. If the company loses customers of product A, they can even cancel orders of future. Then you can give your advice whether the director should implement the optimum product plan or no. Your advice should be totally based on your reasoning. So then you will give your advice whether they should implement the optimum product plan or no. I would give an advice that they should implement the optimum product plan. Okay, in the short run. Let's proceed to the next sum. Okay, the next sum is also a past paper question. Past paper question of May-June 2019, paper 21, A-level past paper question. So here it is that Ravi is manufacturing two products, X and Y. Each product has an allocated fixed costs. The following chart shows you the budgeted information for X. Now, as you know, that a break-even chart can only be prepared, okay, for one product. Okay, if you want to make a break-even chart for the other product, you will have to prepare a separate break-even chart. So now, this is the break-even chart that they've given us. And they want us to identify something. Values in dollars, the break-even point. They want you to identify the break-even point value in dollars. Break-even point is a point where my total costs and the revenue is equal. So if I see a point where the total cost and total revenue meets each other, they meet each other over here. So units would be 40,000 break-even units and the revenue in dollar would be $60,000. So I want the value in dollars of the break-even point. So it would be $60,000. Allocated fixed costs. Variable cost, if I produce 0 units, my variable cost will be 0. But my total cost at 0 units, if you see, at 0 units, my total cost is 40,000. That means, even if I do not produce anything, I am going to incur a cost of 40,000. $40,000 is my allocated fixed cost. What is my margin of safety? Margin of safety is my actual sales. What is my actual sales? This is the sales revenue. This is the sales revenue. And my actual sales, if I see, it is 60,000 units. What is the break-even sales? Break-even sales is 40,000 units. Break-even sales is 40. So the break-even units is 40,000 units. So what is the margin of safety? Margin of safety is 20,000 units. But they want in dollar value. They want everything in dollar value. So the break-even revenue is 60,000. Break-even revenue is how much? It is $60,000. What is the actual revenue? Actual revenue is $90,000. So the margin of safety in dollars would be $30,000. What is the profit that I'm getting? Profit, that means from the total revenue, when you subtract your total cost, you will get profit. What is your total revenue? Just look over here. What is your total revenue? Your total revenue is $90,000. What is your total cost? Your total cost is $70,000. So what is the profit that you will earn? You will earn a profit of $20,000. So this is the small sum where you have a break-even chart given to you and you have to analyze the break-even chart. You have to read the chart and come up with figures. This was already done. Now you are given some additional information. Let's read that additional information and see what is there. This is the following budgeted information is available for Y. You have sales revenue, you have direct labor, you have direct material, you have allocated fixed costs, and you have everything for 1,05,000 units. Okay. Ravi is concerned that the budgeted profit for Y is not very high. He thinks that the profit for Y is not very high. He believes that the following changes could increase the profit but will have no effect on sales volume. He thinks that if he does these changes, it will increase the profit, but it will have no impact on the sales volume. Let's see. He wants to increase the selling price per unit by $5. First, let's see what is the actual budgeted profit. From the sales, when I subtract the variable cost, that is direct material and direct labor, I am going to get contribution. From the contribution, when I subtract the fixed cost, what I will get is the profit. Let's see the budgeted profit. The sales revenue is 3,15,000. Variable cost, add these two, 2,10,000 plus 52,500. Variable cost is 2,10,000 and 52,500. 262,500. When you subtract this from the sales, you get a contribution of 52,500. When you subtract your fixed cost, allocated fixed cost 34,500. So 52,500 minus 34,500, you get a budgeted profit of 18,000. This is a budgeted profit of 18,000 based on 1,05,000 units. Okay. He wants to increase the selling price by 5%. What is the selling price over here? 3,15,000 divided by 1,05,000. The selling price is here $3. The total sales revenue is 3,15,000 divided by the number of units 1,05,000. Selling price per unit is $3. He wants to increase this selling price by 5%. No effect on sales volume, means the sales volume is going to still remain 1,05,000 units. So increase the selling price by 5%. 3 and 5% of 3 is giving you 0.15. So the new selling price per unit would make it 3.15. So let's see. 3.15 into 1,05,000. This is giving me a revised revenue of 3,30,750. Use the skilled labor, which will increase the cost per hour by 5%. It will increase the cost per hour by 5%. So $4 plus 5% of $4. So it is giving me 0.2. So the cost per labor hour will be 4.2. And every direct labor hour is 0.5. So it would be 0.5 per product into 4.2 per hour. This is giving me 2.1 per unit. The direct labor cost 2.1 per unit into the number of units 2.1 into 1,05,000. This is giving me 2,20,500. This is direct labor. Let's see about direct material. Use better quality material. Use better quality material which will increase the cost per kilo by 2%. So I have 0.25 kilo and it will increase the cost per kilo. So it will be $2 plus 2% of $2. So 0.25 into what is 2% of $2? 0.4. So it will be 2.04. So per unit would be 0.25 into $2.04 per kilo. So it would be 0.25 into how much? 2.04. So it gives me 0.51, and I'm going to per unit, and I'm going to produce 1,05,000 units. So it is giving me 53,550. From the sales, subtract the variable cost. So how much you're getting? 3,30,750 minus 2,20,500 minus 53,550. It is giving you a contribution of how much? It is giving you a contribution of 56,700. This was the old contribution. This is the new contribution after implementing the changes. Okay. Minus the fixed cost of 34,500 would give you profit, but you have extra fixed cost of 6,000 more. So 56,700 minus 34,500 minus 6,000. So you're getting a profit of 16,200. If now increase the advertisement cost by 6,000. Over and above this, you also supposed to give your sales team a bonus of 2% of the sales revenue from all sales above 80,000. So your total sales is 1,05,000. Sales above 80,000, you will give them a bonus. So above 80,000, what is your sale? It is 25,000 units that you're going to sell above 80,000. You're giving them a bonus of 2% of sales revenue. So multiply with the selling price per unit. What is your sales revenue? 25,000 into 3.15. Your sales revenue is 78,750. You're going to give them a bonus of 2%. You're going to give them a bonus of 2%. That is 2% of 78,750. It is coming up to 1,575. So this is the bonus that you're going to give them. It is an extra cost that you're incurring. This is the profit. I'm minusing, deducting the bonus also, 1,575. So I have the new profit. The new profit as 16,200 minus 1,575. That is the bonus, 14,625. So my budgeted profit before was budgeted profit before was 18,000. New profit after implementing the changes is 14,625. That means I have an overall decrease of how much? I have an overall decrease of 3,375. This is the decrease. I had to calculate for product Y the effect of these changes on total profit. So the effect of these changes on total profit for 1,05,000 units for product Y will be that the profit will decrease by $3,375. They asked me to calculate the effect of changes on the total profit. I calculated the effect of changes on the total profit. Now calculate for product by only the effect of these changes on budgeted break-even point in dollars. They want me to calculate the effect of these changes in the budgeted break-even point in dollars. calculate the effect of these changes on the budgeted break-even point in dollars. So what is break-even point in dollars? Break-even point in dollars is fixed cost upon contribution to sales ratio. Okay. Now let's calculate for both of these. Okay, this was the budgeted one and this would be after changes. I just brought down, this was the budgeted and this was the after changes. Let's calculate what was the fixed cost budgeted. 34,500. I want in dollars. What was the fixed cost after changes? These were the two things. Fixed cost after changes was 34,500, the normal one, plus there was 6,000 extra advertisement. So the new fixed cost after changes is 40,500. Let's find the contribution to sales ratio. Here the contribution to sales ratio is 52,500 upon 3,15,000 into 100. Here the contribution to sales ratio is 56,700 contribution. Sales is 330,750 into 100. So contribution to sales ratio is how much? First one, 52,500 divided by 3,15,000 into 100. The contribution to sales ratio is 16.667. Here we will see 56,700 divided by 330,750. The contribution to sales ratio is 17.142. So I will find the break-even point in dollars. It is fixed cost upon contribution to sales ratio. So here it will be 34,500 divided by 16.667. I am getting 2069.9. 2069.9. I'm finding my break-even point in dollars. Fixed cost 34,500 divided by 16.667 percentage. I am getting 2,06,958.6. So 2,06,958. I can just round it off because I'm getting answers in points. I'm rounding up to 2,07,000. Because it is 6666666, so I'm just rounding off to the nearest thousand. Over here, break-even point in dollar would be fixed cost, that is 40,500 divided by 17.142 percentage. So I am getting as 2,36,261.81. So we'll round it off to 2,36,260. Okay. So 36,260. What is the difference in the break-even point in dollars? Just minus it. So 2,36,260 minus 2,07,000. You will get 29,260. What is it? It is an increase. It is an increase in the break-even point dollar revenue. That means you will have to sell more number of units to achieve break-even if you implement these changes. And it is because of the increased fixed costs. I have done fixed cost upon contribution to sales ratio. You can also find the budgeted break-even point first in units, fixed cost upon contribution per unit. and then multiply with selling price, the answer would be a little bit here and there because the answer is in points. So there is an increase in the break-even point in dollar. Calculate for product Y the effect of these changes on margin of safety in units. Okay, so what is the margin of safety in units? The budgeted. So that means I need now units also, break-even point in units. So break-even point in units also I will calculate budgeted and after changes. Fixed cost is 34,500. Contribution per unit here would be 52,500 divided by 1,05,000 units. So the contribution per unit is 0.5. And here it would be 40,500 divided by, what is the new contribution? 56,700. 56,700 divided by 1,05,000. So it is 0.54. So the break-even point in units would be 34,500 divided by 0.5, 69,000 units. And here it would be 40,500 divided by 0.54. So it is 75,000 units. So as per the budgeted plan, the margin of safety is equal to 1,05,000 units, the actual sale, minus 69,000. So how much will you save? 1,05,000 minus the break-even units, 69,000. So the margin of safety is 36,000 units. And as per the new plan, the margin of safety in units would be your actual sales activity minus the break-even. The break-even, you break even at 75,000 units. So it will be 1,05,000 minus 75,000 units. So it is 30,000 units. So if you were following the previous plan, you had to sell more units. And if you are following, you were more safer. And if you are following the new plan, you are less safer. So what do they want to find? The effect of these changes. If you change from budgeted to new, your budgeted was 36,000 and with the new, you are less safer. Okay. So what is the effect of these changes is, for product Y, effect of changes. So when you change, it was 30,000 and initially it was 36,000. So what is the change on the budgeted margin of safety? Your actual margin of safety now is 32,000. What is the change on budgeted margin of safety? So they want change on budgeted margin of safety. Change on budgeted margin of safety. So the budgeted margin of safety would decrease by 6,000 units. Okay. Initially, you were 36,000 units safe. Now you are 30,000 units safe. So 6,000 units difference. Initially, you were more safe. Now you are less safe. So your budgeted, the change on margin of safety is that your safety will reduce by 6,000 units. The change on margin of safety is that your safety will reduce by 6,000 units if you change to the new plan. Okay. Recommend whether Ravi should proceed with these changes and justify your answer. Okay. You have to recommend. 1 mark is for recommendation. I see that these changes are not worthwhile. Why not worthwhile? Because if you're implementing these changes, these were the changes. Now you can use this information. You can use this information. It is not worthwhile because if I'm implementing these changes, although contribution is increasing, from 52,500 to 56,700. 1 mark again for this. But the profits are decreasing from which point? From 18,000 to 14,625. The profits is decreasing by, again 1 mark for this. Profit is decreasing by the number of units that you will write. Then you will also say that the break-even point in units is increasing. By how many units? Initially, you would break even at 69,000 units. So it is increasing by 6,000 units. That means you would have to sell more to break even. Also, margin of safety is reducing. To how many units? Margin of safety is reducing by 6,000 units. So it is not worthwhile to move to this project. 5 points, you should give 5 validated points and you would get 5 marks. Okay. What is the next question? You can use the information in the above figure. What is the next part? Set 4 advantage to a business for planning in future. Okay, if you plan for the future, what could be your advantages? If I plan for the future, that means I can easily identify. What can you easily identify? You can easily identify underperforming products. If I plan for the future, I can easily identify underperforming products. I can ensure that skilled workers is available. Skilled workers are available to meet production if I plan for the future. I can also ensure that sufficient finance is available for continuing operations in the future. What else could be the answer? What is the benefit of planning for future? You could ensure that you are able to provide correct quality of the product at correct costs so that you can give proper discounts to your customers, fix proper selling price, and be competitive in the market. Good planning, proper planning for the future also allows you to make changes in future for things that you are not up to mark at. So with this, we also complete one more past paper question, 9706, paper 21, May-June 2019. I would want you to do these sums along with me. Try to do the sums, pause and do the sums. And if you really like the video, you can please subscribe and like the video and also put the comments. Thank you so much.